Do we have any governing board comments? Ms. Song?
I would just like to thank everybody that was involved with the town hall. You guys did an excellent job. The people that were there got all their answers to the questions that they submitted, but also the panel that you put together, their stories were great. And I just felt so proud when that meeting was over as to what Sunnyside has done. I know there's still areas that we need improvement on that they talked about at the town hall, but at the same time, the things that we have done, the things that we have put in place, the collaborations that we have built are incredible. And I think all of you should be very proud of yourselves, not just for the town hall, but for all the things that were discussed during the town hall and all the things that this district is doing. Thank you.
Hi. First of all, I want to say welcome, Superintendent Costello. Thank you for being here, and you're excited, I can tell. Yeah.
I'm a little nervous, but more excited.
And I concur with Ms. Dong. I want to thank everybody who attended the town hall and participated and had an input in that, because everybody worked so hard to make it really outstanding. And I do have some key points. See something, say something. Ryan, I have a list, okay? Thank you.
No.
No. And I'll echo what was said, but I also think the town hall, it was so great to have parent input and student input, which I thought was awesome. But at the end of the day, I think it reminded us that whether it's gun violence prevention or safety in any form, you have to work together with different groups. And I think that's our team that organized it was able to show that everyone's working together and everyone has a role in it. So thank you and welcome. And Superintendent's report.
President Hernandez, members of the board, members of the audience, at today's superintendent report. So first of all, I want to congratulate our summer graduates. Congratulations to our graduates from Desert View, Star Academic, and Sunnyside High School who received their diplomas during our summer graduation ceremony last month. And we had approximately about 40 graduates. Also, in regards to the town hall, as mentioned earlier, last week we hosted our first safety town hall. We had a great turnout. I'd like to thank all of our community partners, students, staff, and families who attended. I'm especially proud that we were able to set the stage for courageous conversations, because I know that as we approach the start of the school year, this is the top of our mind for many of us. School safety is and it will always be our top priority for us, and we look forward to continuing to improve our systems. Also, we had the U of A summer send-off. Our recent graduates are on their way to making the transition to the U of A campus as first-year Wildcats. Last week, our graduates attended the first annual summer send-off, where they joined other district alumni who were already attending the U of A. Our future Wildcats were able to connect with other district alumni, serving as U of A staff and U of A Thrive Center peer mentors on the University of Arizona campus. This is a great opportunity for our students to get acquainted with the university life and make connections with other students before school starts in August. I also want to add that our summer bridge, our New Start students that attended the U of A this past summer, I believe 1/3 of the enrollment came from Sunnyside Unified School District graduates. So very proud of that as well. Our next celebration here is our Authentic Task Approach Workshop. On June 21st and 22nd, we had over 140 teachers that came together to work with our Wested consultants in the Authentic Task Approach Workshop. Teacher teams worked together, developing a lesson plan by utilizing colleagues as resources and engaging in feedback cycles to refine their thinking and planning. We're excited to continue and providing similar opportunities to teachers using this method, and I had the opportunity to attend and see the teachers working together, and it was just an awesome sight to see in terms of how many teachers were there giving up 2 summer days. And so it just shows the dedication to the work. Also want to thank our curriculum team that's led by Ms. Benton, who were there the 2 days with them as well. And then our last couple recognitions here is our Sunnyside Little League All-Star softball teams. The Sunnyside Majors beat Copper Hills with a final score of 8-3 and earned the title of 10-12 major softball champions. The team is playing tonight in the elimination bracket. We wish them the best of luck. And also our boys team, Sunnyside All-Star Baseball. For the 4th straight year in a row, Sunnyside All-Stars win the District 12 Baseball Majors Championship. The boys secure the title with a 1-0 victory in 8 innings over Copper Hills. Sunnyside will head to the state tournament that starts July 16th at Litchfield Park. So that winning tradition continues, and hopefully we get to see him in the World Series. You know, being a former Little Leaguer from Sunnyside, it brings us great pride that the success has continued. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you.
And do you have any,
I'd like to move that we approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
Yes.
Aye.
and general functions, school safety update?
Hello, President Hernandez, members of the board, and Superintendent Jose Gaston. Thank you. This is it's like round 2. I got a good warm up on Tuesday night with the town hall, so let me. I feel like I need a few more people up here, so if you guys start asking questions, I can delegate it off. But I'm good. Hey, this is our security team presentation, and I've really kind of embracing that word team because everyone's a member of the team now. I think we're all kind of learning that. So we're all part of the security team from now on. This all kind of this all started from this whole awakening thing that we had. Mr. Steve Holmes called me up right after Texas, and he says, "Hey, I'm going to put out this letter. Just heads up, and I'll call you in a little bit." And he called me a couple of days later after the letter came out. He says, "How do you think about putting together like a town hall and like write our own story, let people know what we're doing?" And I said, "Absolutely. I think that'd be one of the best things we can do is let people know what we're doing." Because I think, and the letter was, I mean, he just said, throughout our summer, where the district team is in close collaboration with law enforcement to review the safety protocols in an effort to continuously improve the security of our campuses. And that's basically what we did. And we went around and I just really kind of audited everything, talked to a lot of people, find out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. And this is one of the reasons I showed these slides at the town hall about perception. And this is why we wanted to do it. We wanted to make sure that we had the right, that people knew about it. This is a crime map from January to about May, the end of May, for the greater Tucson area for gun violence, for homicides and aggravated assaults with guns. If you look at that map, it looks like, perception looks like Tucson's a dangerous place to live, and it's lots of gun violence. But if you get down to if you look at zoomed into our school district, and that's the same exact map, I just zoomed into it, and that's the perception that we need to understand. That a lot of people think the South Side is poverty and gang violence and drugs and all that stuff, right? But in fact, it's full of community and family and strong values and tradition, and those are the things that people they overlook. That's the perception they don't have. And so that was kind of, I wanted to start off saying this. I want to write the right perception of the Sunnyside. This is something a lot of people don't know. We're 24 hours security. You can get a hold of us anytime. We're through our email if it's a non-emergency, and we have a 24-hour line. We have guys. Our security team is on call. They go out at night. They wake them up in the middle of the night, and they go do stuff. We run 6 days a week, and then we're on call all day Sunday. And a lot of people don't know that. So we have a lot of coverage that we do. People don't know that we have cameras. We have over 650 cameras in our school district on 22 different campuses. These cameras they're 30-day loop recorded. They're a good prevention. They're good investigation tools. The nice part about them is that they are linked into our law enforcement. Our law enforcement has access to our cameras. If something happens to them, they can pull cameras up and use them for emergency situations. They're also they're all motion detected base. I have several cameras in the district I have hooked up to our email system. So in the middle of the night, if there's an area like maybe this board meeting, and boom, there's a motion detector, we get an email knowing that there's somebody in there. And so then we can immediately start following it and get people there and get law enforcement on board. Alarms are the same way. We cleaned up the alarms the last couple of years. Every building has an alarm, a burglary alarm. They're all remote access. Everything is controlled by an app that's on my cell phone. We can turn them off and on when we needed to. And they're all unscheduled now too. So they automatically arm at a certain time every night when we know that nobody should be there. So those are some security features. You know, over the years, Sunnyside is really committed to putting wrought iron fencing, that 8-foot wrought iron fence all the way around every single school. We have miles of it. And then we have also have guard shacks for all of our high schools and our middle schools to vet any vehicle traffic that comes onto our campus. Our front office visitor management for all of our elementaries have a caged off area that when visitors come, they don't have immediate access to the classroom areas. But they actually have to come into a cage, get vetted in by an office staff. We have radios. Every single campus has its own repeater, own radio frequencies. It's just fast, efficient, clear communication that we're able to use on campuses. It's a lot faster than intercoms or cell phones. The nice thing about our radios is they are trunked in with law enforcement has available to our TPD, Tucson Police Department, has access to our radios. All of our SROs, so when they're on campus, they have access to our radios, and vice versa. We have access to TPDs, which is great because when we call 911, we don't necessarily have to call 911 directly. We do, but if there's an emergency, we have a radio. We have a straight communication to law enforcement via radio. Now, the district is branded. Our security department is branded. We have the nice vests for immediate, identification. I love these vests. It's one thing I implemented immediately when I came on board, over 3 years ago now. I got a lot of good feedback. People like them. They like to see them. Emergency management loves to see them. The kids like to see them because they know where they're at. Anytime we have any special events or district events, you can see these people out there. I could tell you stories of how these vests have been really positive in helping, just like parents and stuff know that, or doing investigations on the cameras, and we can see where the monitors are at on the cameras because we can see their yellow vests. It's easier to identify, so it's been really nice to have them.
And
yes.
On that note, for any folks that are listening, for the crosswalkers as well, do they have the walkie-talkies?
Yes. Every school is issued a certain amount of radios. I kind of let the discretion of the principals or the site security teams to, give those out as needed. I know that some crosswalks do have them. I know that like Bobby over at Gallego Intermediate, he does have a radio. I'm not sure they all do though.
Gotcha, because they can see what's going on, like drop off and pick up.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, okay. Mental note, add it to your list.
Mental note, yeah, thank you. And like I said, I believe some schools do. Crosswalks are part-time, split shift. I do think they might come in, check one out, check one in, but I'm not sure. I'll check. Our vehicles are also are branded. They're marked. We drive around. We do rounds all night long on the district level. They've been around a long time. This is kind of if you look at, they're not currently our branded because they're old, but it's nice to have the vehicles that like Chris, Nino, and Dave and those guys can drive around, and we can immediately respond to hot spots in the district if they need extra help. And this is I mean, this is probably the last and most important part of our security team is the people, our family, including myself. I have 4 district security officers that work on the district level. We have the 45 campus monitors across the schools. And we have 3 TPD officers that we hire every day, 2 at the high schools, and 1 kind of roams at the middle school and shags some elementary calls when needed. And we have the 1 sheriff's department SRO that they actually supply to this because they have an actual SRO unit that they have in their department. These people are, like I said at the town hall, our monitors aren't ex-law enforcement or military or special forces, or a lot of them are they're just community members who have an investment into our school district. You know, they're the grandpas and grandmas and moms and dads of who come and help us with security. So it's they have that shared responsibility. They really feel good about it. All right, so this is what I learned. First of all, I think like everybody, it was super emotional last week of May with the graduations and then the news blowing up with a school shooting and everything. And so I was really starting to worry about, man, what am I doing? What's Sunnyside? Where are we at? And so I kind of was able to take a deep breath and say, you know what? We really do have a good foundation. And we really do. Just like everything I just showed you, that's the perception I want people to know, that we have a really good foundation. And that I don't believe we don't need to add new things. We don't need new technology. We don't need all this other stuff, but we really do need to tighten our systems down and our protocols down, that human element of it. We are only vulnerable to if we don't keep a constant monitoring of our safety and security. And that's when we go into those areas of, not stopping everyone at the guard shack because we know who they are type thing. Or, and then also the other part is being kind of complacent on our threat assessments. And we should, every single threat we have to our students or staff or our buildings, we should go through the whole process of our threat assessments and do our mental health thing, the whole process, instead of saying, well, we know that kid, we know that family, we know he's a good kid, he's just an excited utterance type thing. No, we should really go through and follow through on those. We need to increase our avenues of communication at all levels. I learned levels at the town hall that we need more communication with our parents. We need more communication with our students and things that they need, how they think security and how we can help, how they can improve things and what their perception is too. And maybe they have a different viewpoint than what we're looking at. And I think the main thing is that we as a culture and a community here, we really don't have that ownership of it's my responsibility too. I think a lot of people, Mr. Javal Givens kind of touched on it at the community, saying that we have kind of this like anti-snitch culture, or it's not my business culture, it's their business type thing, when we really should have the opposite thing when it comes to safety and security of our children in our schools. If we drive by and see something, we should report it. And it doesn't matter who you are. Instead of thinking like, oh, they haven't fixed that yet, instead of saying, hey, does Ryan know about that yet? And call me. And that's kind of what we need to develop. So this is some things that we've done since the superintendent's letter. And he said, hey, let's go audit this. So these are things that we've done immediately this summer. One of the main things is we reorganized my security department and made it more streamlined and put more of a kind of an organizational chart to it. So I was able to we were able to hire a locksmith. A locksmith position is posted. We're in the middle of getting that hired. I think that's really going to help clean up the district and do all the there's all the band-aids we need to do to fix all that stuff. We have our district security officer, and then we'll have 3 security officers underneath him. So basically, it's like Chris Higgins is our lead security, and we'll have 3 security officers underneath him, like Dave, who runs the security like tonight, and they'll be all. And then all the monitors are now underneath security instead of underneath the sites. So that'll give me more access to them for training and scheduling and kind of the needs of the district. I can move them around during certain days. We don't have a substitute pool, but if I got 3 people called in sick or have vacation at Sunnyside and I'm short, maybe I can pull some others now over and keep everything more balanced during the day. So it gives us more of, flexibility there. I like the security handbook. I put this security handbook together. Yeah, thanks, Shane. So what it is it's a virtual handbook, and it's kind of a one-stop shop for all of our security needs. It has all my forms in it, has training, and if you scroll down a little bit, it has all my contact information. And even if you scroll down a little bit more, these are like right here is like the main use resources that we have in the department. If the principal wants to look at this handbook and they look at things, they need to find out where the emergency flow chart is. They can click on the flow chart. There's a link there, and it brings up the most current flow chart. Because a lot of times, every year, things need to be updated. And now they're always using old forms or old things, but now everything is up to date for security purposes in our handbook. And I can put it all together. So it's a real, it's just another tool that I think it was to get everybody on board, using the same thing. Everyone's communicating, speaking the same language. All right, you can go back to the PowerPoint. Okay? This is more the communications to the student reporting. This is something Mr. Costello's been talking about for years, ever since I've been here. He's wanting to have some kind of reporting avenue for students to anonymous report things, and whether it's bullying or graffiti or social media threats or whatever it is, give them an ability to speak, and so we can have it. So they've developed this say something, see something. It's like a confidential form that they can fill out. It's going to be on every single laptop. So now they can just open the laptop, click on the form, fill it out, and submit it. That submit goes directly to the security site team. So the principals and the administrators will receive that notification, and they can act on it accordingly after they look at the report. We're going to fire up the Safe and Orderly again. This has been Safe and Orderly has been hot and cold. We kind of get going. Some years are better, other years, some months are better, some months are another. Next year, teaming up with Miss Gallegos, with her brains and my brawn, I think we're going to have a really good committee. So we're going to put it together and have some really effective trainings. These trainings involve all the assistant principals, the AIs, the ABSs, and it's going to security monitors, and we're going to really focus on the student matrix, keeping that, getting that trained, the emergency flow chart, all the mandatory reporting stuff, lockdown, emergency drill stuff. We'll get all that trained and tightened up. And then as the years go, we just pick up hot topics, whatever we need to work on in our schools. And it's going to be a shared responsibility training. We're going to really try to push this training. In the past, they kind of get that training. They're supposed to take it to the schools, and then the school's supposed to take it to the teachers, and the teacher's supposed to take it to the students. Some of it kind of falls off. But we're going to really make sure that training gets all the way down to the bottom this year. And then we had the safety town hall, which I thought was really successful. I think everyone had a good time. The one thing I really learned, I learned a couple things at this town hall. First, my perception first is, I know the students didn't talk a lot, but the things that they said were very powerful. They're saying that one of the students said that the parents just need to trust the kids and listen to them. I thought that was a really powerful statement. Another student said, what does a safe school look like? And he said a safe school should feel like my home, and there should be people there who are like police officers, security, who are watching out for us. And so I was like, well, the kids, I think there's a lot of there's a misperception that having law enforcement or having too much security on campus might be a bad thing. But actually, the kids feel like it's a safe thing. They can let their guard down knowing that someone else is watching. And then another thing I really learned about this was when Chief Moretz stood up, and he said this Pima County Sheriff's Department covers 11 school districts. And he says, and Sunnyside is the best prepared, is most invested in safety and security and building those relationships of the mental health relationships, community relationships and stuff. So I was really impressed with that too. I didn't tell anybody to say anything up there either, so. All right, I know I was talking fast, but I wanted to, so this is kind of our laundry, right? So this is the stuff that these are the adjustments that we need to make. And I just these are the things we really need to work on. The guard shack protocols. And I think everybody here, and if anybody's driven through a guard shack, they probably are a little disappointed in how it was handled, right? I've done it too. I've driven through guard shacks, not been stopped, or the door doesn't open, there's someone in there, heads down or whatever. And that's not the way the protocols and the training is, okay? They've just gotten sloppy. And so we're gonna really, in the very beginning, I'm gonna push these out on my pre-services. I'm gonna really train our guard shacks up and give them the right, standard operation procedures, and then hold them to it. And I'll just start visiting guard shacks and make sure they're doing it right. The open gates that are not staffed at the middle school and high schools, we have the guard shack, but then the back gate will be open. What's the point? And that if any gate's open, it should be staffed with someone to close it back up. So that's some of those sloppy little things that we need to fix. Unstaffed front offices at all levels. A lot of times I've walked into buildings, I know we're short-staffed, I know we're busy, I know we're running errands and doing things and helping out, but someone has to be greeting us and saying, welcome to school, welcome, welcome. There always has to be that. And so we need to make sure that's always available. So someone's always at the front door saying, welcome to our school. Just to unlock buildings and classrooms, the rocks in the door, the little wooden things, people propping things open and stuff. I know it's convenient, but it's not safe. We need to knock that culture off completely. The badges, employee badges. This is the big one. We're not wearing our badges anymore. I don't know if because it's not cool or that we have old ones or what's going on, but I've really tasked all the principals that this is a new culture in our district to make sure that we're always wearing badges and make sure our visitors are wearing badges and our substitutes. A lot of times we have a lot of substitutes on campus and we don't have substitute badges. So these are things that we're going to fix this year, make sure the adults have badges. Our security monitors just need to have systems. They have systems in place and they have zones. They have all these duty lists and stuff. We just need to stick to them and hold them accountable to it. And the main thing is just the security is just not convenient. I think a lot of people want to be convenient. I don't know how many people ask me for gate keys. Oh, it'd be so much easier if I just had a gate key. I'm like, well, it would be safer if you just called security and we'll come open it for you. Instead of having, 1,000 gate keys out, let's just use the protocols, and it might take you 10 extra minutes to wait for a security or monitor to come open the gate for you, but that's what we do. We're not going to give every single coach, every single teacher a gate key because they want to park or whatever. So those are little things like that. We just really have to hold our line and just, hey, it's not convenient, but it's a safe way to do it. And just keeping that just keep developing that shared responsibility and that security mindset. Okay, I hope I didn't talk too fast. Going forward, we're just going to keep training. I think our biggest investment is our employees. We just got to keep coaching them up, keep coaching, and just then hold those guys accountable with all their checks and balances. I'd start log sheets and start, more holding them accountable and documenting more, things that are going on. I want to have the district team working more alongside. Get my district security guys to go do more shadowing with these monitors, do more on-the-job training. Even myself, I want to start going and shadowing some of these APs who are in charge of facilities and spend a whole day with them and see what they're doing with their job. So I know what their job is, because I might have a different perception of what they're doing. And so the only way I can do is I want to do that too, is spend some days with Abel Morado and Jesse Ortega and Vanessa Valise and those guys at the high schools and even at the middle school levels. Just spend more time with them and see what they do during their day. We need to work. I need to work on sites. I know that the mental health team does it really good, and there's other departments that have a lot of resources outside the district that they tap into, and I want to kind of create that too. I want to be able to have more law enforcement resources, more educational resources that people can tap into that they can use at their professional developments or in the classroom or whatever. I need to identify the security at every single site. I need to do a very thorough assessment of each site and kind of make a wish list of every single site, like what could we do better. I know that's gonna, it's a wish list, so we'll see what we can do. And just keep going. It's a living thing. Security it's constant reform. We handle emergencies completely different than we did 15 years ago. Nobody ever thought they were going to get mental health and psychiatrists and things in the front end of this. That everybody was a reactionary thing. They just say, hey, let's just get guns on campus and build guard shacks and fences. We realize that doesn't stop it, so we need to do other stuff. And so that's where we're going, and I know that we're going to continue growing and changing. We just got to be flexible. All right, I think that's all. I just want to personally say thank you. All right, I'm not a son of Sunnyside. I'm not a
Or now.
I didn't grow up in the community, and I didn't graduate from here or anything. I was SRO for years and stuff, but I just feel really honored that how well I was adopted to the family and really taking under your guys' wing. It's been an amazing journey for me the last 7 years, and I just thank you for trusting me, and I just want to just tell you I will keep working hard for you guys and for all the students.
Thank you.
Do you have
I have a question.
Yes.
And a list. So,
Okay.
so you train all your monitors and everything. Who's going to train all the new teachers on security for their classrooms not being kicked open? And who does that training for the new teachers?
Well, ideally, we do the safe and orderly training, and then and those are the site security teams that come and do the training. That training is they're supposed to take that training and then push it forward to their teachers.
Yeah, if I may add,
Yeah.
Ms. Quintero, so the expectation is that all sites share their emergency protocols at the beginning of the year. So during those in-service days, they are sharing those emergency protocols, especially because you always have new staff, right? So you have new teachers that are maybe brand new to the district. You have some that are brand new to your building. And so, we talk about lockdown procedures, evacuation procedures, just reporting protocols. Who do you report to? Who's in charge of safe and orderly at that site? So those expectations, are for everyone. And as we mentioned, we got to make sure this is a shared responsibility. And if I may just continue with another piece is this piece of eliminating human error, right? Nobody likes to talk about it, but that's what it is. We have to put things in place and train to eliminate that human error. I don't think anybody does that intentionally.
No.
It's just, but when it happens, it can really cost us, right? And so those will be the expectations. We'll reiterate that to site leaders and make sure that they share their plans with us.
Do we do safety audits, make sure they know and how often do we do?
I haven't, but we will, and that was the whole challenge from the superintendent letters. Like, hey, we need to do these audits and find out what we're doing. So yeah, I'm planning on some other things I didn't talk about. Putting more, just going back to the old log system. So now my monitors and people now are documenting what they're doing throughout the day and even have checklists. We're also thinking, I'm working with IT of putting together a whole help desk, putting security on a help desk ticket work order stuff where I can actually send work orders out to my monitors and say, hey, do a perimeter check today. And then they get that ticket and they're like, oh, I have to complete this today. And they can do it, and they can report it and say, oh, I found this wrong, and they can give us, now we can get work orders and going. So there are ways that we're going to try to audit. We're just brainstorming. This is all, it's new. Wow, we really got to hold these people accountable, hold our staff accountable.
On that topic, I'm trying to think of what topic it was that we were asking for an audit review. And the issue that came up that I would imagine would also come up for a security audit is each individual site wasn't reporting. There was inconsistencies in reporting when folks would forget to report or not report at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
I believe you're referring to the fire drills.
there
and
you go. It was
lockdown
I was trying to think of what it was. So
Correct.
if we're using the same reporting system, or if we're going to change to a new one, I
Yes.
guess my ask, and I don't know if anyone else has any input, but if we're talking about shared responsibility, making sure everyone's on the same page, I feel like we do need to have a training on the system itself to make sure everyone understands it. That includes the new teachers,
Mhm.
current staff. I don't know who would who would give that training, but I think that's important just for beginning. And then I don't know if we already have something in place because you have trainings for your security that's separate, but I know that I've heard not only from families but also staff is they're concerned about gun violence. So by making sure that we train everyone on our new goals and what we're going to do, the protocols we're going to follow, that also helps make sure that our staff know that we do have a plan in place. So just stressing the importance of everyone needs to be trained and not just relying and I know everyone's doing the best they can, but that's so important because we don't know what tomorrow brings, right? So just, sorry, beating a dead horse, but if we can just please make sure that everyone is trained and we do stress that it's not even an option, like we have to report on time. Because if we don't report on time, the security team won't know what's going on, right? Or between the security team, no one will know across the board. And then I guess that's a question for me too, for you all, is if we're using the same system, can the security team see the reporting that anyone files?
Yeah, and I'll add to that, Mr. Hernandez. And so I think Mr. Paul didn't give himself enough credit for the audits. I think there's different layers of audits, right? And so because we do have that in place, in terms of fire drills and lockdown drills, it's in the security handbook. Every school fills out their Google Doc as soon as they do it. And so we have a paper trail and log on fire drills and lockdown drills. Every school does their monthly fire drills. They do their 2 lockdown drills per semester. Our security team is at most of those lockdown drills because the most important piece about those pieces is the debriefing part, right? What did we learn from it? And so in terms of accountability, that piece is there. I think as you answered the question, Mr. Powell, it's this piece of when in light of the shooting that happened in Texas, is that expanded our audit in terms of, okay, what are our vulnerabilities at our sites, right? And so we're looking at it from a lens of, do we have secured and controlled entry and exit protocols, right? Do individuals know what to do when it's a lockdown drill? I think the other thing that I learned from the town hall was this piece that Chief Moretz covered about run, fight, hide, right? When you're in a situation when there's gun violence involved, I mean, you have a couple options. I mean, obviously we'll lock down, but there's going to be situations where you may not be able to lock down, and we have to teach the methods, those key pieces of run, fight, hide, and because you're fighting for your life, right? And so that's something I think we definitely need to learn a little bit more about, and bring in our partners in law enforcement to maybe present at whether it's a safe and orderly meeting, and more importantly at the sites to staff.
I'm absolutely amazed how much we have in place that's ready to go. Like even when Mr. Gaselm said the run, fight, hide, I have in my security handbook, there is a PowerPoint lockdown drill PowerPoint that is prepared for principals and teachers to use, and it has the run, hide, fight video in there. It has all that information there, but do they know it's there? They need to know it's available, and that's what I think we're put. It's very organized. We have our systems in place. We just need to now use them. And I think that's been my biggest audit right now, is my biggest worry. So
I don't have any.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right,
This is
thanks, guys.
great.
Thank
You have
you.
a lot to work on.
Yeah.
We appreciate
and I will invite you to those trainings. I had
Yes,
to.
please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just a presentation.
ASBA Summer Leadership Institute debrief.
Middle and high school
It's middle.
transition.
Did I miss one? Sorry.
The middle of the high school transition.
Oh, sorry. Middle to high school transition presentation.
Good evening, President Hernandez, Superintendent Gastelum. I have to really focus to say that, and governing board members. That's right, I call them, I go through all the names. Jose, Javier, Steve, I'm working on it. Tonight we have the opportunity, and it comes right after some of the goal-setting conversations around talking about the middle to high transition. And some of this is a recap of work begun and really work moving forward. And so I'm going to let NJ go ahead and start us off.
Thank you, Pam. President Hernandez, Superintendent Costello, members of the board. So I know there's been some changes here in the district, but we are still very focused on our graduate profile and our vision of having every child graduate college, career, and community ready. And so I could not be happier to have the opportunity to talk to you tonight about some expansion of that work that you're familiar with at the high school level into inspiring our middle school students as well. So you're familiar, obviously, with the graduate profile, and I really want to key on that outer circle of identity, purpose, and agency, because I think over the years, as we've talked to you about the academies in our school district, you see that just resonate with students. You hear, as they discover things they're good at and things they're passionate about, you watch them bloom into who they want to become. And so it's been a dream for a long time to be able to really address systemically those transitions from middle school to high school and spread that sense of both well-being and there's cell competencies involved in this as well to our middle school students even before they get to high school. So while you're familiar with the academies, I do want to remind you that the high schools do have a real emphasis on freshman academy as well. So our design from the time Mr. Castellum was at Desert View High School really focused around the idea that we had freshmen at the high schools with additional support to help them become high school students, and then also to have an in-depth look at what do they like and what are they good at before they choose their college and career academy, which they would ideally, find their major and stay within that for their sophomore, junior, and senior year. So the idea right now is to build a more robust structure of career exploration in the middle schools as well. And this is a work that is being done nationally. There are career exploration standards in Arizona for our middle schools as well. Career exploration actually goes all the way to 5th grade. And so I'm excited to be supporting Mr. Castro in this work, as all of this is also being led through our CTE programs. But what are we doing? What we've been doing for our middle schools has been good, but we feel really can be much better. So we have put together an amazing group of partners that we are very grateful to have that have been working with us this past school year with Mr. Castellum. Mr. Holmes was at the table for this. And we've brought in people from the Arizona Department of Education, the Pima County School Superintendent's Office, representatives from the Tucson Metro Chamber, who are all committed to say, let's see what we can build, just a model program for our middle school students to learn about opportunities. Again, what a better way to inspire students who may be dragging after the trials of the last couple of years than to help them find something they're excited about, future opportunities, things that they're good at, and a future that they can really aspire to. So with this group of individuals, we began meeting in January, and that was an interesting semester because leadership at the middle schools changed a little bit over that semester as well. And so with support from the Center for the Future of Arizona, we actually were able to bring those middle school principals to the table with people that they identified as their career exploration champions. And so that included some teachers, sometimes other administrative staff, sometimes counselors. And they spent some time this summer developing, how are we going to roll this out at our school? Because we allowed the flexibility to say, what's going to work best for you? Where are you in this work right now at your school, and what's going to work best for you? And so our collective goal is that by the end of this year, all of our 8th grade students will have a much more increased self-awareness about what career clusters, very broad areas that they might be interested in. All of them will have completed a reliable career cluster survey. They'll have completed a unit, usually led by school counselors, on educational planning in order to help make informed choices about the courses that they're going to be taking in high school. Not just in their freshman year, but the idea that there's a whole sequence to this. And the better you do, the more opportunities you have to take more rigorous courses when you're in high school as well. That they will all have access to strong resources to help them explore a variety of different career options and develop a high school transition plan. So we've done a nice job already about bringing 8th graders to the high schools to kind of see some of the opportunities that are there for them, but helping them really formulate, here's my plan. Just like we do with high school students on a post-secondary plan, we're really looking for middle schools to have an idea of here's what I'm going to do to high school, and this is where it's going to lead when I graduate from high school. So how are we going to do that? Well, one of the big players on this is that we are using a curriculum called Possible Futures. And the schools are all implementing different pieces of this. There's some similarities, some are different. So all of them are going to be using this as a resource to deliver school-wide lessons from a unit that's called Lenses in the Future. Really is self-exploration. It does have some career interests, but it also has a lot of personality style and what do you like to do and what are your values, like do you want to have a job that's got some flexibility to it, as opposed to just what are your career interests? Several of the schools are using this curriculum for an 8th grade elective option. The elective in our course master is called Possible Futures, Possible Selves. And so that's an opportunity for students to take an elective that's really vested in learning about different occupations. So they'll do some exploration of healthcare and some exploration of technology. Two of the schools, I believe it's Challenger and Gallego, had already begun some work specifically with the IT units of this, and so they're going to be continuing that work specifically targeting on the IT units. Counselors will be leading lessons for 7th and 8th grade using both the ADE product called My Future AZ, and School Links is something you may hear a little bit more about this year. We are rolling it out at the high school. We've replaced Naviance with this. It's a college and career readiness life platform. And we're going to be able to extend that to our 8th graders as well, so that they'll have an opportunity for, again, more robust resources for career exploration. And when I'm saying career, you know, with me, it's career in college. It's what's going to get you to wherever it is that you want to go. And then through the Pima County Superintendent's Office, we are going to continue career shadowing options for students and expand what we've already been doing, which is offering externship opportunities for teachers. These are paid externships for them to have an opportunity to go out and learn, you know, what's happening in the world outside of education in terms of careers, so that they can bring that real life experience to their students as well. So I need to recognize the work of Marisela Felix and her department as well, because we are very proud of our college career and our college and career academies at the high school. We've done a good job of marketing them. How do I know we've done a good job? Well, we were fortunate enough this year to work with an organization called CIC Tucson, and they put together a digital survey that they worked with us on. They pushed it out to all 8th and 9th grade families to try to find out, you know, what do you think of our schools, and are you aware of the college and career academies? We had 285 families respond. That's almost 12%, which I understand. I was like, is this good? Is that bad? They said anything over 10% is usually considered pretty good. So we got a really good return on the digital survey. Most of them were 8th grade parents, which I thought was interesting. And this was done in mid-March and in April. And then on that digital survey, they were asked, would you be interested in doing a follow-up phone call so that we could get more information from you? We had 51 families agree to do a follow-up phone call. Again, mostly 8th graders. So what did we learn? Well, I think you should be proud of the fact that 98% of those who responded would recommend Sunnyside to a friend or family member. Nice. Have to tell you, I was a little nervous on this survey question, because my experience has been, like, even when you look up reviews online, who wants to respond to the survey? Oftentimes it's people who have something that they want to complain about. So the people doing the survey said that was an amazingly high yield, that our families are saying we would definitely recommend our school district to others. They said they learned about the college and career academies, both from their own experiences, but also from friends or family and emails from the school. Interesting point of fact, Again, kudos to the PR department. They said it's unusual for people to be positive about emails they're getting from the school. And I know we've worried about how often do you send a bright arrow? How often do you do this? But parents said they liked getting more specifically emails from the school with information. There was a series of questions, like a continuum. 84% of the families said that they're aware of the college and career academies. That's why I can confidently say we've done a good job as a district of getting that message out to the community. 60% of the 8th graders and 71% of the 9th grade families said that they could really tell you what the academies are. So there's a gap there between, yeah, I've heard of them, I know they're a good thing, and really, you know, what are they? And so there's some action items for us as we continue to work with parents this year. And 90% of the 8th grade families who responded did confirm that their child would enroll in Sunnyside for high school. Now, I don't have a one-to-one match, but as we've watched trend data with the number of 8th graders and the number of 9th graders over the past, 5 or 6 years, we usually yield somewhere between 92 and 96% of the 8th grade enrollment at our high schools. So we know there's a number of reasons why students might go elsewhere. So 90% is a little low, but this was still March. So I think a lot of parents are still going, I'm not exactly sure where we're going to go for sure next year. So that's the information that we received from them. We did ask a couple of other questions. This is still on the digital survey. And this is where Ms. Felix was a part of all of this work, and we learned some things that we can do a better job at. Again, we've done a good job of sharing the opportunities in our college and career academies. But only 64% of 8th grade parents could really tell you about extracurricular offerings, which surprised me because I thought for many people that's athletics and they could probably tell you, but we can probably do a little bit more to help them know the many different offerings that are available in our school district. And only 56% of 8th grade students could tell you much about our academic offerings. So clearly, we need to make sure that they understand the college opportunities, the numerous dual enrollment opportunities that are available to our students, advanced placement opportunities, scholarships, all the things that you know about and that we're proud of. We need to do a better job of sharing with our community. So that's really the lift for students, and Ms. Benton's going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing with teachers to help with that transition as well.
So Battelle for Kids is an organization, Ed Leader 21, which is Ken K's organization here in Tucson, a few years back, merged with Battelle for Kids at the national level. And we've had, they're the group that helped us develop our graduate profile. They're big in the space of deeper learning. But more recently, they've gotten a Gates Foundation grant really looking at 8th to 9th grade transition. And we were fortunate to become a partner in this. We also have, next year is the second and a half year of the grant that we'll be working with. And the unique piece about this partnership is we work with Columbus City Schools. So there's a district and a site, Afrocentric school, K-12. There's a team of teachers and administrators from there. There's a team from their central office. And then we have a team here. We also have Thad Dugan, principal at Apollo, and 2 of his teachers. And we have Natalie Newsom, the freshman academy assistant principal from Sunnyside, and 2 of her teachers. And that group meets with Battelle for Kids, and then we also meet with Columbus City Schools, and then we meet together. We had an opportunity to host Columbus City teachers and administrators who came out and spent 2 days with us here in our classrooms and seeing things. And we were at Desert View, and they also saw some of the academies while we were there doing some of those pieces. And then more recently in May, we had the opportunity to take our teachers and administrators to Columbus City to have conversations with them. Really interesting partnership in that the focus of the work is around this 8th to 9th grade transition, specifically around agency. How do you develop agency with students? It's couched in networked improvement science work, so they're working with teachers to create small change ideas that they can do in real time and reflect on them, build on them, make them bigger, and then those teachers talk between the 2 districts. And that, Mr. Costello and I had the opportunity to sit with them. Really interesting, just what a great opportunity for teachers to network with each other from different states and how many commonalities they really have formed some tight relationships that outside of the work we do with them, I know they're in contact with this group. But there's a formal goal to it, and there's actually a SMART goal that has metrics that they're working on out of a draft form now. But it's really specific, as you can see in here, building off of the graduate profiles, but really focusing on agency development in 8th to 9th grade transition. And what does that look like? This year, moving forward, our students will also have an opportunity to engage with a group of students from Afrocentric middle school and high school, the middle school and high school piece. We had, in the spring of 2020, is that right? 2021? I don't know. 2021. Yes, our students had a brief panel experience with each other. So we're really looking forward to bring in that student piece that goes with this. The interesting thing about this work, while the project seems small and focused, it really has implications at the national level. And really, how does that inform the work? And what other opportunities are there to really start to build out that agency part of our graduate profile and say, how do you create structured opportunities for students? What we've learned is you have to do it for teachers. When teachers experience agency, when principals experience that agency, they're able to mirror that and create that for their students. So this is just, we used their slides so you could also see their thinking around it. It's really been a unique opportunity for us to engage with a national partner and another school district that are similar but different to ours to really focus on what's possible in that work with teachers and students. So we've included this in that transition because we'll continue that. We have our group of teachers who will also, next board, you're going to see some travel to Houston for the annual conference. They're being asked to present with the Afrocentric teachers. And so they don't know it yet unless they're watching this. Well, they do, but they don't know it's approved. The grant approved it. So really just looking at the opportunities to build capacity with our teachers. And then how do we take what we're learning from that and build it out across where that is. All right. And Angie's going to bring us back around.
Yeah, just a year ago, just about a year ago, I had the opportunity to talk with you about the whole learner concept and how we were putting together an entire system of support for students. And I'm proud of that work, and that work remains. And I'm very pleased, thank you, Mr. Castellum, for including that in one of his focus areas for this year as well. However, it resonates here. I just wanted to mention that to you because as I said earlier in the presentation, the whole idea, and that's Castle's work around social emotional learning, is where better can we work within content to help students develop the competencies that are in our graduate profile, and the words that are highlighted there really come directly also from the social emotional learning. So when you look at that last one, that concept of critical consciousness, and again, that entire concept of identity, purpose, and agency, if students can develop those skills and that agency to truly feel empowered to reach for whatever goal they want to reach for. And so I just wanted to articulate the fact that that work really lives within career exploration for all of our students as well. So thank you very much for your time, and either one of us would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Does anyone have any questions? Ms. Stone?
Yes, just really quickly here. I really thank you for the presentation. It was great, and it's good to know that there's a lot more details on the goals that we talked about earlier as far as the superintendent goals are concerned. And I'm glad that this was something that we really focused on while we're talking about the superintendent goals, because you can see here just how critical this can be, not just for 8th graders, but for them to be able to finish all the way through high school and then go into college or careers and community. I really like the idea that we're doing this at 8th grade, because many times we don't. We wait until 9th grade. So that's that whole year there that they start to think about it, and that's a wasted year. If they start to think about this in 8th grade and they start to explore it and they start to go into these tools that are out there to get them to see different things, different careers, different ideas, then when they hit 9th grade, they hit it running. instead of hitting eighth, ninth grade and then, okay, let's start talking about, the rest of your years here. Because those 4 years are quick. They might not think it, just like college students are in their freshmen, they think, oh my God, I got 4 years of this. And before you know it, they're walking down the grass there. And I think, it's important for us to get our kids a running start. Make sure that they, because our kids don't always have those opportunities. They don't see all the other things that are out there in the world sometimes. And if we start talking to them about it in eighth grade, even in the tools for them to start learning more about themselves in eighth grade, when they go into ninth grade, they're ready. Now, they might not know 100% what they want to do for the rest of their lives, but they at least have an idea of what's out there, and what are some possibilities and what are some of the things that make them happy and are interesting to them. Instead of waiting and wasting a year, and then by the time they start their sophomore year, before you know it, they're graduating. And they're still trying to figure it out when they're starting their first years out there in the real world. So I just I'm excited about this. I'm really super excited about this. I think there's so much that can be done, and there's so much creativity that can be put into this thing. So I want to thank you for bringing that as one of your goals and bringing that to us. And I want to thank you for giving our students this opportunity in the eighth grade. Thank you.
I'll piggyback off of what Ms. Song mentioned. This is really exciting to me. This is actually one of the reasons why I even wanted to be part of Sunnyside. I'm an alumni. I really care. I didn't feel prepared when I went to college. It's never too early, and I think what you all are already working on, but obviously recognize as a district, is that a lot of these conversations, not everyone is as lucky to have them at home. So this is why it's so important to have them so early on in these great partnerships. There's so much potential there, and I'm really excited to see this unfold. So thank you.
And I also, being, because I'm alumni from way back. So yes, if I would have had this goal setting type stuff, I would have probably gone to college when I graduated, because that wasn't even an option for us. So thank you. This is really good.
Just in agreement with everyone, graduated a few years.
I see what's happening here.
I also didn't know college was an option until I was a senior, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you actually got good enough grades, you can get these scholarships." And luckily enough, I just happened to. But I didn't know that was going to be the end result when I was a senior. So I think that this is really exciting.
And just to tag on, because Ms. Nunez brought it up in the study session, we didn't include crew here, but it will continue as we grow it out to be a part of that 8th to 9th grade transition, and really figuring out how do we make 8th grade as a opportunity to be something that really helps build and create that structure for moving to 9th.
And Mr. Hernandez, if I could just add, thank you to the team. It's an excellent presentation, and along the same lines, you think back to your high school experience and wishing you would had these opportunities, right? We used to call a lot of these classes vocational ed. I don't even know if we had dual enrollment opportunities back then, but what's nice is we want to make sure that our students choose us, right? And we want them to understand that they have choices, and they have good, there's some good choices on the table. And so when you're able to pick your pathway, knowing your strength, the levels of engagement in the classroom just shoot up. And so, I have to reiterate this piece. I mean, we have a lot of students graduating with dual enrollment credit. They're not graduating just with a high school diploma, they're graduating with college credit. And when you look at those pieces, I mean, and I'm sure the research will support, if they have college credit, they're more likely going to enroll, right, in college or university of their choice. Again, they have opportunities to earn industry certification, and a lot of them are getting work experience. And so, I know we're in the talks of trying to establish an associate's programs with our precision machining program at Dutch, because it makes sense to do it with them because they're the closest ones to it, right, in terms of that. But I just wanted to reiterate those things, because I know, again, that our families have a choice, and we hope they choose us, and we just need to keep them well informed that they're gonna have a great experience here. The other piece is that, you know, we have open enrollment, so any of our eighth graders can choose any of our high schools depending on what their pathway is, the pathway they're chasing. And so I just wanted to make sure to point that out. Thank you.
This is exciting, and I really am looking forward to seeing how we communicate this with parents and teachers. And I feel like everyone should be aware of what we offer. And I think for the most part, everyone does in the schools. But this is great. I mean, everyone's invested in making sure that we let them know what opportunities are available, and we just have to communicate that. We're doing great things. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
One more, real quick. I do want to ask or say thank you to Maricela for the marketing
Yes.
part of it, because the billboards look great. That's an eye catcher, so those are good. And yeah, so because I came from a parochial school in eighth grade, I didn't know how, you know, the public school is all about. So it was an eye-opening thing. So I'm hoping more kids would see that and want to come here to Sunnyside. It's like, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and now we have the ASB Summer Leadership Institute debrief. I don't know if there's.
Who went?
I went for a session. I wasn't able to make the entire thing, so I don't know if Ms. Dong has anything to add.
Yes, just a few things on it. We had an opportunity to go to their annual leadership conference over in Flagstaff. And a lot of it is they bring in speakers that are extremely motivational and tell their story about, you know, their school experience and, you know, whether good or bad. They tell a lot about what they experience and what we need to keep in mind when we are here making decisions for the students. And this, I think, is that we just finished talking about was a good example of a good decision. Excuse me. But just a couple of other things, you know, that happened at the conference. We had the Hispanic Native American Indian meeting that we have every summer to talk about business. And one of the exciting things was to talk to everybody about how we now have all passed. Sunnyside voted yes, and a lot of districts voted yes to pass it, where we now have 2 seats at the board of directors table. We just used to have one. We would alternate. One year it'd be the Hispanic president, then the other year it would be the Native American, but we never had them both at the table. And we felt it was really important to have both voices at the table. And we fought hard for, well, we fought hard for over a decade just to have one of us at a time. And then we fought for over 2 decades to make sure that both of us were there at the table at the same time. And we won the election, and we now have 2 seats at the table. And it's really critical because especially the Native American voice is usually the voice of the rural community. And too often they're just overlooked and people don't pay attention. But also I think it's important for us at Sunnyside to have both voices there, because we have a large population of Native Americans at the Sunnyside district. And so I think it's good to have, you know, a vote in both areas there. So we passed that and we talked about that. It's, you know, sad to say that a lot of the districts still don't get it, though. You sit at these meetings with people and they say things that are like, wow, you know, we should, why shouldn't we have statues of the Ku Klux Klan members? They're part of history, you know. They make those kind of statements and you just want to like, but you have to stay straight, and then, you know, because it's their opinions too. They don't believe in pre-K. They feel that it's a waste of time of district and state money. They don't want states to fund pre-K. And those are the kind of things that we're battling, and that's why we need to make sure that we go to many of the meetings where the decisions and the votes are happening. So I just wanted to bring that part out because one of the things that, they talked about was a critical race, and some of them have just a whole different idea of what all that. But also, in a couple of months here, along with the law conference, is going to be the day after is the legislative agenda meeting. And that, I think we all need to be thinking about. We need to make sure we have somebody attend, because that's the only way we get a vote. It's the only way our voice is heard. And some of the things that they were talking about was the pre-K and full-day kindergarten, which they don't believe in. And so we need to fight for full-day kindergarten. We need to fight for pre-K. And the only way is to be at that Saturday meeting where we can get up and talk on that mic and try to get everybody to vote the same way, to support pre-K. Another thing that, was a difficult conversation, which shouldn't be, was LBGT rights. And people were not wanting that to be part of the agendas that we are going to be putting out there for the legislature. I mean, if it wasn't for some of the people fighting for it, that would already be completely cleared up. So we have to show up. We have to show up at these meetings on Saturdays, at the agenda meetings, where we vote and tell ASBA who and what to fight for. Because if we don't, they won't. Because there's a lot of districts out there that don't want us to fight for LBGT rights, that don't want us to fight for critical race theories agendas, that don't want us to fight for kindergarten and full-day kindergarten. So we need to be there. We need to be at each of those meetings, the legislative meetings. And that's going to be the day after the law conference. It's always connected to another conference. And so people that are voted in as being the delegate will then just stay one night more and spend that. It's a very grueling meeting, because there's these people that are saying these things that are horrible, and you've got to get up there and have other people, fight the other way around. And so, that's something that I would definitely encourage everybody to do, and to make sure that they're there. And let me just read one thing really quick, and then one of the things that one of the last legislative agenda meeting, because we all get together as a board. We all here sent things, if you recall. Then the ASBA board of directors get together and look at all those things, and that's where these fights were happening. Then the second fight, though, is at the legislative meeting that we have at the law conference, this one. And so one of the things that happened at this last one, the committee argued whether to keep priority point, oppose any measure that would result in fewer qualified voters from being able to vote or register to vote. So in other words, the question is, do we get involved in trying to get people to not stop opportunities of voting? This item was moved to strike, to take it off. However, after express comments from myself, the only Native American representative at the table, given the opportunity to explain the very real cause for concern from our end, Native peoples and the attack on our right to vote, which by all means is, I think, a partisan effort to shore up what they believe is wrong with the election process by way of removing individuals who have no physical address or even require an ID, which to some Native Americans is difficult to obtain because of a lack of certain documentations, for example, birth certificates. Even the inability to understand English can be a barrier. While the group did reconsider the point, it was agreed that we change the verbiage to address more positively the circumstances, to say to some degree that ASBA would advocate for all efforts to ensure qualified voters have the right to vote easily and without any barriers imposed. The final verbiage will reflect the common purpose that will support and ensure. So in other words, if this man had not been there to fight for it, there wouldn't be anything that ASBA staff would fight for as far as voting is concerned, and not putting barriers up there. That's why it's critical that we're there at that table on that Saturday.
Can I piggyback off of that? I think that's just a reminder for everyone listening, or even in this room, the people who make decisions are the ones that show up anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Annual expenditure.
Did we change it? Aren't we approving the adopted budget?
Yeah, well,
Yes,
that's next.
What do I
I
miss?
asked for a motion.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the annual expenditure budget?
I move that we adopt the 2022 annual expenditure budget.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dawn,
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez,
Aye.
Ms. Nunez. Aye. Ms. Quintero.
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Motion approved. And can we get a motion for the,
Yes. I'd like to move that we bring forward and approve the proposed superintendent performance goals for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
roll call?
Ms. Dawn,
Yes.
Ms. Nunez. Aye. Ms. Quintero.
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez.
Aye. And can I get a motion for the calendar?
About the calendar, are we gonna talk about it?
That's what I thought we were going to do.
Yeah.
Is there a discussion here?
Discussion.
Okay.
Take no action.
So,
We're gonna bring, show you goals?
That's F.
Excuse me?
We weren't gonna get a copy of the final of the goals?
The goals,
the changed ones, or what do you?
oh, those will come to us
Yeah, we
probably.
could provide a
Oh,
copy.
Since they
okay,
changed
okay.
it,
Yeah, they're gonna finish putting
Okay.
the these and the its in there.
Okay.
So this one is regarding the board meeting calendar. I don't know if we have anything to follow up there.
When's the second and fourth Tuesdays?
I think, if I may, the discussion is surrounding around the fact that during the summer, we had one in-person meeting, and then we had one early in the morning consent agenda items meeting, so that we can move business forward. But I believe that the consent is now to come back, that school is starting, to the two in-person meetings, and going back to the second and the fourth, and once again at 5:30. So that way we can conduct business in front of the public, in front of the staff. And also, usually that time is also when we start to congratulate people and thank people. And so it would be very difficult to do it only once. We'd have a whole bunch of people to thank in one meeting. This way we can thank them in separate meetings. And so that way, but I personally, if the question is, do we think we should do this, I personally feel that it would be good to go back to the two meetings so that we can, during the school year, there's usually a lot more that we need to discuss. And that way we don't have, so long meetings because we had to put it all into one in-person meeting.
Just to clarify, this is a conversation, right? So I had brought this up a few months ago, and it was for the opportunity for folks, not just on the board, but who have to be here. If we were able to get things done in a 7 a.m. meeting, we can do that instead of having to stay here. That was my suggestion over the summer, but it wasn't a permanent ask. It was just a moving forward. If we want to make sure that we have people who want to serve in these positions, we need to make them as flexible as possible. So that was my suggestion for the summer, not permanent. I don't know if anyone else has any suggestions or comments.
But you had said 6 o'clock, so I'm thinking you meant 6:30, correct?
30, did I say 6? I'm sorry.
That's okay, I just want to make sure. It's 6:30.
I meant 6:30. 6 would be nice, but 6:30 is fine. No, 6:30. Okay.
So it did work out for summer,
Mhm.
so we can continue the 2 meetings during school year, but go back to summer. If that's,
Probably something to discuss next summer.
That
Well,
would
because
be
this
my ask, just because I'm considering everyone around us. That's what my suggestion would be. Is there's other school districts who do it. That's where I got the idea from. It was from a school board conferences, other school board, others governing boards go virtual when they're able to over the summer, to approve business, and then if they have to be in person, we're here in person. So I guess we can have that conversation again if need be, but yeah, I don't know. There's like nothing else to add to that.
Did you all like it?
So I think Mr. Hernandez and members of the board, I think we're flexible. I think our team is we learn to work with the one meeting in person a month and the virtual meeting. Of course, it was nice for everyone to have one meeting, but we understand that. You're right. I mean, you get loaded agendas when you're in person just once. So we're here at your discretion. We're flexible. We'll make it work with whatever the governing board chooses. I do like the idea of having flexibility around the meetings in case flexibility for all, not for our convenience, but for all of you as well. And so we can work with either one of those situations.
Just to respond to what you just said, I understand that you all have to be whether we decide morning or evening. I'm just speaking on behalf of people who would want flexibility. Yep. We can have that conversation again. I don't think it's even necessary to have the same conversation when I think it worked over the summer. Mm-hmm. If there's an emergency or something, we can come back, but I just don't think it's necessary. But we're going back to normal, so it doesn't matter.
We learned flexibility during COVID.
Yeah. There you go. Is there any more questions?
No,
or comments?
I'm good.
I'd like to move then that we return to in-person board meetings commencing July 26th.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dawn?
Yes.
Ms. Nunez? Aye. Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye. All right. Do we have any suggestions for future agenda items? No suggestions?
No.
No unfinished business? Nope. And can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dawn?
Yes.
Ms. Nunez? Aye. Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
You survived.
That is great job. It was good.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You were getting your teeth last night.
packet.
Oh my gosh.
And if you would start on this packet. Yes. And then you'll just have to kind of share that around. Do you want to start on that packet?
Oh, we didn't even sign.
And
Oh my gosh.
do you want to start on this one?
I don't have any pens.
Let me see if there's one, and this one is specifically for you.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have any in my drawer.
Okay. Oh, you got
You got one?
Thank you.
Okay.
Huh? You gotta sign them all. I mean,
asking if they're tabbed.
oh, I don't see.
They don't all
just-
have tabs.
no, They
They're
don't.
stapled, the staple pack. Oh, okay,
got it, got it.